whatever it is, here it is.
Punk rock as a genre has been around for decades and decades and decades now. Specifically American punk rock, you have bands like I don't know. I really like recent punk rock, like Turnstile, and today's topic, Jeff Rosenstock, specifically because it has a very unique vibe that I can't really get with most other bands that I've listened to. And it's a lot more softer on the ears while also having that kind of punk aesthetic that you would see in most songs as of recently. And today we're going to be talking about Jeff Rosenstock specifically. Now, Jeff Rosenstock is a little bit of a like a legend in like the punk rock scene, or at least that's what I've heard. He's created many amazing albums like No Life, Worry, and most recently Hell Mode, which we will be going over today. I think before I listened to Hell Mode, I listened to We Cool, which had some good cuts off it, like You in Different Cities.
Hey guys, just a little bit of an editor's note. It's not You in Different Cities, it's You in Weird Cities. I can't believe I messed this up. I'm going to have to get off the internet forever. Oh my god.
Which I really like, but Hell Mode definitely is a lot more focused of an album in my opinion, mainly talking about political issues that are kind of topical, especially where he lives in California. And with all this chaos and turmoil going on in his life, he still finds a way to heal as a person and cope with these different things that are plaguing not only him, but the people around him. So let's get into track by track why I think this album is so good and why you should listen to it too. This isn't really an album review more than it is just me talking about how much I like this album. The album cover for Hell Mode features a lot of different things, kind of avant-garde-ish. I don't know. It's kind of hard to pin down what the design is. When you hear his music, you kind of like, this kind of reminds me of something I'd hear off of Cartoon Network. And you'd be right, because he actually did an album for Craig of the Creek. I think it's like a new kid's show. I don't know. But he did an album for them. And it sounds like some shit you'd hear off of Cartoon Network. And you're kind of getting that same vibe with the album cover for Hell Mode. There's a lot of different cartoony characters in the background, different types of media and stuff like that. It really kind of gives you that feeling like this is a mashup album, when that's not really the case. It's very focused and clear. And we get to see that on track 1, Will You Still You? And the lyrics are basically asking, will you still love me after I fucked up? Kind of vague, you know, he's not really talking to any one person. I'm assuming he's talking to a love interest in this song. But after a few verses, it breaks down to this really nice drum break that's kind of intense, and it's almost overwhelming a bit. You know, you don't really expect that on like most punk records. And then as soon as it starts, it very quickly ends and breaks off into this really clean and delicate guitar solo that I think actually suits the album really nice. It's fun and it's also very creative too. This is a really good track, Will You Still You. It has a lot of things going for it, and when I first listened to it, I thought it's not really that good, but with me getting into new genres like punk rock or just any kind of rock, I've been getting into rock recently. It's definitely taken me a few listens to really appreciate the different elements at play and why they sound so good. So Will You Still You is actually one of my favorite cuts off this album, specifically because of that amazing solo. I really like at the end of track 1 how it transitions perfectly into track 2, Head. The song Head is mainly talking about how it feels like Jeff has a bomb inside of his head due to just how overwhelming some certain situations can be for him. Definitely a mental health focused track, which I think is very nice. And just the beginning of the song is so intense with him screaming at the top of his lungs. It is really intense, really hyper, and you kind of get a sense for just the kind of energy that he'll bring later on in this album, and it really just kind of sets the tone. This is a very weird project through and through, and this track is a very good example of that. I think my only complaints with track 2 is that it's not long enough. The thing runs just short of 2 minutes, and I would really appreciate just, you know, a few more verses, maybe a bridge, because I like it that much. Liked You Better is another great song off this track. Track 3, they're going 3 for 3 right now. Jeff Rosenstock is kind of him. But Liked You Better is this really kind of campy song, you know? I get very like campfire song vibes from his songs. And tracks basically talking about, I liked you better when you were out my mind. I think it was Out My Mind. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look at the lyrics. But if you guys know anything about ska music, it's kind of a very hated genre for some reason. I think it's actually pretty good, especially especially the way Jeff does it in this track, you can tell the ska influences just immediately as soon as the chorus is done, with Jeff kind of like, you know, spouting out different words with those chord progressions in the background, that kind of plucky guitar and plucky bass that you hear in ska music. It's kind of the signature, you know. I couldn't really tell you what it sounds like. You just gotta listen for it. It's very ska heavy in this track. But the chorus, I think the chorus of this track is really, really good. Definitely something you'd sing with your buddies at the campfire. Fuck yes, I love this song. Doubt has this really nice guitar in the background that really just mixed with Jeff's vocals. I think this is a very nice track. I wouldn't say as intense or as riveting as track 1, 2, or 3, but definitely a more of a slow burn track that builds up into more intense bits right at the end. And it's fucking crazy, you know. Like, it's really hard to explain the different kind of cuts that you're gonna get off this album. It almost feels like a mixtape, but in reality there is an overlying theme that connects all these tracks together, and it's mental health. It's very heel focused. It's a very heel focused album. So I think track 4 is very, very good and a very, very nice punk song. I think my favorite part is where it just breaks back. I'll play it. No, I won't. I won't. I'm probably not even understanding what I'm saying right now in the final cut.
No.
Future is Dumb is track 5 off this album, and it kind of reminds me of, like, if you guys have ever watched like some select animes, you may have watched Naruto. It kind of sounds like the guitar off this track kind of sounds like something you'd hear in like a Naruto outro. It's like that was a really weird kind of example, but it's still, you know. I really like this track. It's definitely more of the, like, it's definitely one of the more mid-ish cuts, but still definitely holds its own as as like a track. And definitely one of his more focused tracks overall in his career. So gotta love that. Soft Living. Ooh, I love the guitar in this one. It's very this Soft Living, which is track 6. It's a lot slower, and the guitar is very heavy on this one. And I really like the lyrics, just talking about soft living, you know, with I guess kind of it's kind of nihilist, you know. The lyrics itself kind of like feel nihilistic in nature, like you know, a lot of things are going through his head. Even still, I think this track is very, very confident, and I like it a lot. Heal Mode is definitely the quietest track off this whole album, but I think it's the best one, with just that nice, very soft guitar that doesn't have any distortion whatsoever. And he's just explaining, I never thought I'd say it, but it's hard to hate the rain in California. And it's just really, really nice singing, talking about describing, you know, the fall season in incredible detail. Really makes me kind of want to be out here where it's 40 degrees and it's dark. The camera makes it look like it's light out. It's not light. It's not light at all. It is dark outside. But I digress. Heal Mode is probably my favorite track off the album, specifically because it's a contrast from all the more intense emotions in this album, and instead gives you time to like reflect on stuff. It's a really slow track, and you know, it's a very nice, soft track that I really love so much, especially at the end where he's just repeating, perfect lazy days where all I need is me and all I need is you. It's super good. I fuck with it heavily. Life Admin kind of reminds me of like early 2000s rock a bit, with like just the way the song is built, but it has that Jeff Rosenstock spin that you'd hear in most of the other tracks off this album, which I really, really like. It's kind of feels like a kid song in the beginning, like talking about little washer, like kind of has like some nursery rhyme vibes, but I think the subject matter that he's talking about is definitely a lot more complex and a lot more detailed, and I think that adds on to the kind of complexity that you would see with an album like this. So Life Admin, while people don't really like it that much, I think it's actually pretty underrated as a track. I like it a lot. I Want to Be Wrong is definitely a more intense cut off the album, just straight punk rock through and through, punk rock extract, you know, that Jeff Rosenstock fucking signature with a deluxe, with a twist, you know, type shit. Definitely a lot of subject matter at play, talking about politics, talking about, oh, the world's gonna end. It's a lot to take in, to mix with, you know, the kind of punk-ish like vibes you're gonna get from this album. Still, I think it's a little bit more of a mid-cut. Definitely not as impactful as songs like Doubt or Heal Mode or Soft Living, but still, I think this one is very nice. Just not as nice as all the other songs, you know what I mean? I like that Breakdown and Graveyard song where it's just the drums and the guitar. It's really nice, it's really subtle. I think this is also kind of a little bit of a more low-key kind of banger on this track. Not really too soft, but not really too intense either. Definitely a very good cut off this album, Graveyard Song. Now, you'd think this late into the album, there's so many hits. The final track's gotta be a little bit mid. You'd be so wrong, because 3 Summers is one of my favorite tracks off this whole entire album, with that distorted guitar and unique chord progressions, and I love it, and it has gotta be one of my favorite cuts. Very long, it's drawn out and complex with its song structure, and it's kind of very, very sad. I don't know, I get a lot of sad vibes from this song. I feel like this is probably the song that Jeff took the most time on. It seems the most worked on and like considered songs on this whole album. That's why I think it's one of my favorites. The lyrics are great, the subject matter is great, the guitar is great, the drums are great. What's not to fucking love about this track? And what's not to love about this album? Hell Mode is definitely one of my favorite albums of 2023, and it still definitely holds its own, despite having multiple great albums come out this year. Will it be in like top albums of the decade? Probably not, but hey, it is 100% worth your time. And I'm just another music critic, and I'll see you guys in the next video.